Hi, and welcome to the NFL Fan Forum. My name is Art, aka the Sea Cow, and this is my sidekick John, aka the Cowlick.
What's up?
Thanks for joining us. First of all, we want to wish everyone a happy new year, and let's all look forward to an awesome playoff season for 2021. We also want to thank all our awesome subscribers to our channel, and so let's keep it going. Our show today is going to be about the top 6 quarterbacks coming out in the 2021 NFL Draft and what their future may hold. But first, our play of the day.
Third quarter, Dan Bailey puts it in the air. Cordell Patterson waiting for a big return. 5 yards deep out of the end zone, trying to run it out. Down the sideline. Patterson has 7 for his career. Looking for 8 down the sideline. Throws up the deuces for the touchdown.
Our first quarterback we'll be discussing in this episode will be Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. A national championship winner in 2018 over Alabama and a runner-up in 2019 to LSU and Joe Burrow, Lawrence is widely considered to be the best quarterback prospect since Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. He stands tall at 6'6" and weighs 220 pounds. He is best known for his leadership skills and his ability to play at a high level in the biggest moments. So what do you think he brings to the NFL for next year?
He brings a lot. He brings a tall guy that can see the field very far. He's a very mobile quarterback despite his size. He rarely throws interceptions, and when he does throw interceptions, they're usually batted up in the air, and that causes the interceptions. But his accuracy is actually very good. And when there's pressure in his face, he doesn't seem to budge. He seems calm and relaxed. And when pressure does come in his face, he's not afraid to leave the pocket, look downfield to see it if there's an open receiver. And if there's not an open receiver, he can, like I said, he can run it with his legs. And you've seen him run in a few touchdowns with his legs. So he brings a lot. A mobile quarterback that's 6'6", that can see the field very nice, and he can throw dimes and run wherever he wants to go. That is if the pocket collapses.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have ended their season at 1-15 and have the number 1 pick in the draft. I think it's highly likely that they will take Trevor Lawrence and look to build the team around him with a new offensive-minded coach, maybe an Urban Meyer type, after firing their current head coach, Doug Marrone. Do you see this being the case with the team?
I mean, I think they will. I thought that Gardner Minshew was the guy, but after firing their head coach, it seems like they're going to want a new head coach, specifically offensive, and he's probably going to think that Gardner Minshew is the guy, or he might have second thoughts, but my guess is that he's going to want to go quarterback in the first round, so he's going to easily take Trevor Lawrence. And if they do go Trevor Lawrence, which I'm pretty sure they will, what will Trevor Lawrence receive? Well, if that's the only pick in the draft that the Jaguars have, which it's not, but I'm just saying, if that was the only pick in the draft that they had, he has DJ Shark, he has Laviska Shenault, Keenan Cole, and Tyler Eifert for receivers, who are pretty good in my opinion. I don't know much about Keelan Cole, but it seems like he did pretty well. Then you have running back James Robinson, who's a rookie, who looked spectacular in his rookie season. He should have gone to the Pro Bowl, but he looked spectacular. And then on offensive line, it's not looking good. Trevor Lawrence is going to get sacked a lot. He's really going to get sacked a lot if they keep their offensive line the way how it is. So yeah, that's what they have. So if Trevor Lawrence was to be the guy, they're going to need to draft a lot of offensive tackles so that way they can protect Trevor Lawrence and hopefully not get sacked, because he's going to have to run around in the pocket, and I don't think Trevor Lawrence does well when he is running for his life outside the pocket.
I definitely agree with you that Jacksonville should take Trevor Lawrence and build their future around him. So now let's move on to our next quarterback Zach Wilson out of BYU. Wilson is a highly competitive and intelligent quarterback with a lot of upside. He stands at 6'3" and weighs in at 210 pounds. He ended his season with 3,692 passing yards and 33 touchdowns, with only 3 picks. Definitely he's an underrated quarterback. And when he first arrived at BYU, not many people knew much about him. But he sure has taken college football by storm and looks to be a first-round prospect this coming draft. So what's your impression of Wilson's play?
Very surprising, because everyone thought that he was going to be the third or fourth quarterback heading into this draft. But seeing how he played against Boise State, very talented school, and he crushed them, that's a good sign that Zach Wilson is going to be a future star in the NFL. He's going to be a really good starter in the NFL. So that's why he's the number 2 quarterback. He's very consistent. He runs the ball. He's a bit faster than Trevor Lawrence. He's a bit shorter than Trevor Lawrence. And he's still pretty consistent. And he's only thrown 3 interceptions this whole year, which is very impressive. Like, what more could you want? He actually looks good. He actually looks very similar to Drew Lock, but it's just that Zach Wilson is able to think faster and make smarter decisions than Drew Lock. And yeah, he actually looks very good. He runs the ball well. He's good when it comes to consistency, and he can move outside the pocket. He's not afraid of pressure either, just like Trevor Lawrence.
Looking at the draft order, there are several teams that would take Zach Wilson in the first round, starting with the Jets. So where do you think the most likely landing spot's going to be for Zach Wilson?
To be honest, I don't know. If I was to be honest, the most likely landing spot would probably be the Jets. But here's the thing: do they want to keep Sam Darnold? Then, if they do, let's move on. Who's the next team that will most likely get him? The Falcons. Do they want to move on from Matt Ryan because he's getting old? If so, if they want to keep Matt Ryan, then let's move on. The Lions. Do they want to move on from Matthew Stafford? If not, then let's move on. The Panthers. Do the Panthers want to keep Teddy Bridgewater? If so, then we're going to move on to the Broncos. Do the Broncos want to move on from Drew Lock? I don't know, but they might. Let's move on. Do the 49ers want to keep Jimmy Garoppolo? We don't know. So that means the Patriots are left. Cam Newton might stay with the Patriots, actually. He might be a backup, though. Cam Newton, or he might demand a trade or move on from the Patriots. So if another team above the Patriots wants to take Zach Wilson, I won't be surprised, but I'm worried that the Patriots might get Zach Wilson because maybe the Falcons, the Jets, the Lions will keep their quarterback. They're most likely going to keep their quarterback. So that means the most likely landing spot would probably be the Panthers because right now they're 50-50 with Teddy Bridgewater. So I'm going to say the Panthers, but it's very probable he might go to another team above that. So we'll see.
It will be interesting to see who decides to draft Wilson. For me, looking at the landing spots we just talked about, I'm thinking Carolina is going to be his final destination. So moving on to our next quarterback, we have North Dakota State's Trey Lance. This quarterback has a great upside in this year's draft as he has an accurate arm and can beat you with his legs too. He stands at 6'4" and weighs 226 pounds. Despite only being 20 years old and coming from a small college, the potential in this star is undeniable. I mean, last year he threw 0 interceptions with 28 touchdowns. That's pretty unbelievable. So what's your opinion on Lance and his ability?
I like the guy. He's very mobile. He has a strong arm. And people are saying he's a very extremely good athlete. And I find that to be very true. He is very accurate, just like Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, he can run with the ball. He is very fast when it comes to running the ball, just like Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. And he's not afraid to lead the pocket and make a big play happen. So that's another positive from Trey Lance. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Trey Lance does in the NFL. He seems like a very good prospect and looks like he's ready to go.
Looking at his rushing totals from last year, where he had 14 rushing touchdowns, he's beginning to remind me of a Lamar Jackson or even a Jalen Hurts. So looking at the teams in need of a quarterback, where do you think he gets drafted at this year?
Well, everyone is saying the Broncos, and I'm pretty sure I believe him too, because Drew Lock has the lowest completion percentage by all QBs, and that's terrible. He was 35th in NFL for completion rate. That's horrible. And that could be a sign that we could get rid of him. But the thing is, he actually looked good in the Raiders game. So does Vic Fangio want to move on from Drew Lock and make him a backup? Or does he want to draft Trey Lance? And he might. That's why I'm thinking the Broncos might be a good draft. Might take him. If not, then the next team in need of a quarterback is the 49ers. But I'm pretty sure they're going to keep Garoppolo. It's just that he has to stay healthy. That's the thing. But then the other most likely pick is the Patriots. That is if no other team wants to go QB. And they can go with Trey Lance. But my feeling is that he might either go to the Broncos or the Patriots.
I feel the same way, but I think he goes earlier in the draft to the Detroit Lions. An offensive-minded new head coach could match Trey Lance up with running back DeAndre Swift and wide receivers Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones. To me, that would be a scary offense to build up for the future. So now let's move on to Ohio State's Justin Fields. Fields is coming off a stellar game against Clemson in the national championship semifinal with 6 touchdowns. He stands at 6'3" and 228 pounds, so he has good size. He also has a strong arm and is very decisive as a leader on the field. So when looking at Justin Fields, what do you think makes him a top prospect in this year's draft?
Well, there are some good things and there are some questionable things. The good things is that he is also a mobile quarterback, just like the other 3 we were talking about. He's tall, he can see the field quite well, and he's been pretty accurate against Clemson. But in the past few games, he's made some questionable decisions, and it concerns me a bit. But here's the thing. The reason why people are saying Justin Fields will go past Trey Lance is because Justin Fields plays Division I football, while Trey Lance plays Division II. So they're saying that Trey Lance plays easier football teams, college football teams, than Justin Fields, while Justin Fields just plays very tough teams. So those are my good and those are my bad. Justin Fields can be a top quarterback, but can he not turn into Dwayne Haskins and turn into something like Lamar Jackson? We're going to have to find out.
That's what makes the draft so interesting every year. We can never be sure who is going to succeed and where. It all depends on coaching and learning environment, along with the player's character when it comes to hard work and discipline. So when we look at Justin Fields, where do you think he ends up in the draft?
Everyone's saying that he might end up in Atlanta just because he's from Georgia. But I also see him going potentially to the 49ers or Patriots. Justin Fields, like I said, he has made some questionable decisions, and that's why he might fall into the 12th to 15th pick in the draft. The Falcons could take him, but the 49ers could also take him, and the Patriots could also take him. But where would he be the best fit? In my opinion, he would be the best fit with the Falcons. But do the Falcons want to move on from Matt Ryan? We'll see.
I think I agree with that assessment. If the Jets don't take him, I think the Falcons will. So now let's move on to Florida's Kyle Trask. Trask had a rough time recently by throwing 3 picks in the first quarter in the Cotton Bowl versus Oklahoma. But despite this loss, he is still in the running for a Heisman Trophy and ended the year with 4,283 yards and 43 touchdowns. At 6'5" and 240 pounds, he's a big quarterback with a strong arm. His size commands the pocket, and he is a good leader. He has a lot of similarities to me with Ben Roethlisberger of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what stands out to you about Kyle Trask going into the draft?
What stands out for me is his height. His height is what stands out the most because he's almost as tall as Trevor Lawrence, and he can see the field quite well, and he'll be able to see that open receiver. Now, there are some questionable things that Kyle Trask has done. Even though he can see the field quite well, he's thrown 3 picks in the first quarter, and that led to a devastating defeat by the Oklahoma Sooners, and with 55 points to 20 points. So that's not good. And the Oklahoma Sooners took advantage of those 3 interceptions. They used those 3 picks to score points. So that's not good. He has some trouble reading the field. He has trouble sometimes reading defenses. And he ends up throwing picks because of it. So there are some questionable decisions by Trask. He runs rarely. He sometimes runs, but not that often. But other than that, he's actually a pretty good quarterback. He does have a strong arm, not as strong as like Drew Lock's or Zach Wilson's, but he does have a strong arm. So yeah, there are some questionable things that Kyle Trask has done, but with a little bit of training, he can improve that.
To me, Trask looks like a quarterback with a lot of upside, and with some good coaching, I think he could become a very good QB in this league. So where do you think Kyle Trask ends up in the draft?
Either the 49ers or the Patriots, if I'm being honest. The most likely landing spot would be the Patriots because they're most likely going to move on from Cam Newton. And because of that, they're going to want a QB. And probably the most likely QB to head to them is Kyle Trask. He is going to need a lot of coaching, but he is going to be in the right environment for coaching because Bill Belichick is pretty good when it comes to coaching QBs. So I think that Kyle Trask would be a pretty decent fit for the Patriots. With a little bit of coaching, Bill Belichick could possibly change Kyle Trask and, you never know, make him a Super Bowl champ.
I think I agree with that. I think the 49ers won't take a quarterback in the first round, but the Patriots will, and they will draft Trask. Offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels would love to have Trask for his size comparison to Tom Brady. With a quick release offense, Trask should succeed in this system. Now let's move on to our last quarterback in this episode, Alabama quarterback Mac Jones. Jones took over for Tua Tagovailoa this year and threw 36 touchdowns and only 4 picks. He is 6'3" and weighs 214 pounds. His decisive play and big game confidence make Jones a star quarterback in the making. He will be in contention with Justin Fields of Ohio State for the national championship this year. So what stands out to you about Mac Jones?
So what stands out to me is his consistency. And his consistency has been pretty good, I'll admit. He has thrown 4 picks, which can be improved. But overall, he's been pretty good. He has an 83% completion rate, which is pretty good. When it comes to throwing the ball, he's not that strong. He actually has the weakest arm for a quarterback in this draft. Out of all the quarterbacks in this draft, he has the weakest arm. So he can't really throw pretty far for, like, if there's a wide receiver open downfield for a very big gain. He most likely will probably not have the arm to do it. That's the only thing that is concerning. But with a little bit of building up the muscle, he can make that arm stronger so he can throw it down farther. And for mobility, he's 50-50 when it comes to mobile. He's sometimes mobile, sometimes he would want to throw the ball. And he's a fairly smart QB, just like Zach Wilson. So yeah, those are the best parts and the worst parts of Mac Jones. He seems pretty calm. He is a very confident quarterback. It's just that his arm needs improvement.
I think Mac Jones is going to make a team very happy when they draft him. He has the confidence and the accuracy, and he's going to learn to be even better in the NFL. So looking at the draft, where do you think he's going to be taken at?
The most likely pick, you know who, the Washington football team. Washington is in really desperate need of a quarterback. They just got rid of Dwayne Haskins, And Alex Smith is getting pretty old. He might be a backup, or they just might get rid of him. So they're definitely going to need a quarterback. And not a better pick than picking Mac Jones. That's the most likely quarterback they're going to be able to get. And I think it's a fairly decent pick. With Terry McLaurin, that duo is going to be unstoppable. Mac Jones is a very smart QB. He can run the ball sometimes. That is if he wants to. He's not afraid to get outside the pocket. Like I said, his arm needs to improve. So if he finds Terry McLaurin for a big gain, he's going to have to work on that arm so that he can throw it deeper. So that's the only thing I have trouble with. Just improve the arm, and then he'll be a pretty good quarterback.
I definitely agree with your choice on this one. Head coach Ron Rivera only needs a quarterback to build this offense around. If I were him, I would also keep Alex Smith on the team because he is a very good mentor and he could teach Mac Jones a lot about being a quarterback in the NFL. With running back Antonio Gibson and wide receiver Terry McLaurin surrounding him, he can be very successful to go along with a great defense next year. So that'll do it for our show today on our top 6 quarterbacks going into the 2021 draft. Tell us what you think in the comments section below. Be sure to destroy that like button and subscribe to our channel. By the way, don't forget to turn on that notification bell so that you'll be notified when we post a new video. This has been Art
And John.
signing off.